After the July 27, 2023 military coup in Niger, things are getting more complicated, day after the other as fresh developments emerge in the country. The latest developments being a former Tuareg rebellion leader and member of the embattled President Mohamed Bazoum's cabinet called Rhissa Boula, instituting a movement aimed at toppling the military junta and reinstating Bazoum's presidency. On August 8, 2023, Rhissa Boula, who was a long-time leader of Tuareg rebel groups in Niger and former minister of the state in charge of security in Mohamed Bazoum's administration, launched a political movement against the junta, demanding for the arrest of Abdurrahmani Chiani, who is the leader of the military junta. Rhissa Boula rejected the junta government and started a political movement called the Resistance Council for the Republic, calling for the Niger soldiers to end the rebellion and reinstate Mohamed Bazoum's presidency. In his address to the media and the people of Niger in general, Boula said that the people of Niger are victims of the tragedy that was a military coup, and that Abdurrahmani Chiani betrayed the trust placed in him for his personal interest. That the military takeover was a clear betrayal of the people of Niger, at the time when the fight against social problems and terrorism were going well in the country. He also blasted the junta for what he said unreasonable rejecting of mediation attempts, manipulating of the masses and summoning of war criminals known as Wagner to the country to help them perpetuate their selfish agenda. Therefore, he vowed that his new movement will use all kinds of tools and mechanisms to restore constitutional order in Niger. In his own words, he said that the Resistance Council for the Republic calls on the soldiers who respect the people of Niger to put an end to this uprising and arrest General Chiani immediately. The Resistance Council for the Republic will use any means necessary to thwart this treacherous attempt by irresponsible soldiers who disregard the will of the people to subvert the constitutional order and undo the democratic gains that Niger had made this far. It's in the aftermath of the announcement of this new movement that we have brought to you this video, to give you a brief history of this man called Rhissa Boula and why the Niger military junta should be worried about him. Born in northern Niger in 1957, Rhissa Boula is a Tuareg politician who played crucial roles in the intermittent Tuareg rebellions of Niger and Mali since the early 1990s up to 2011. He was the leader of the 1990s Front for the Liberation of Air and Azawak rebellion movement, which was one of the two main rebel groups during the Tuareg rebellion of 1990 to 1995, in which Tuaregs were pushing for autonomy or rather creation of their own state. During that rebellion, Rhissa and his fellow rebels forced the government of Niger to the negotiation table, and he led the rebels in negotiating a peace deal with the Nigerian government. The peace deal came to be known as the April 15, 1995 Ouagadougou Accord. After the 1996 Nigerian coup d'état, Rhissa Boula was absorbed in government under President Ibrahim Ber Mainasara, who had gained power through that military coup, and was made Minister of Tourism of Niger in 1997. His ministerial post came to an end on April 9, 1999, the day on which President Ibrahim Mainasara was ambushed and shot to death at the airport in Niamey by soldiers who were members of the Presidential Guard as he was going to board a helicopter. Following the 1999 coup and Niger's return to democracy, he was again appointed tourism minister under President Mamadou Tanja in 2000, and held the post up to the year 2004. In 2004, he was named as an accomplice in the January 26 murder of the ruling MNSD party activist Adama Mang, and subsequently sacked as a minister on February 13 the same year. On July 14, 2004, he was convicted of ordering the murder, together with 3 other men, but in July 2005, several Tuareg former insurgents led by Rhissa's brother Mohamed Boula, began a series of militia attacks in the northern Niger, culminating in the kidnapping of 3 Nigerian police officers and 1 soldier. Their demand being the release of Rhissa. A Libyan negotiation resulted in the provisional release of Boula in March 2006, a month after a safe release of the hostages that the militias had taken. In 2007, a renewed rebellion broke out in northern Niger, with rebels partly claiming that the 1995 Ouagadougou Accords were not being honored, and in January 2008, he announced that he was joining the rebel movement, provoking condemnation from the government in Niamey. In retaliation, the government withdrew Boula's provisional release on the 2004 charges, and a court convicted him in absentia of the 2004 murder. On July 13, 2008, a Nigerian court sentenced him to death in absentia, but in late 2008, he announced that he was forming his own faction of the rebels movement called FRR. In 2009, the FFR joined the Libyan-sponsored peace process that resulted in the May 2009 end of the Tuareg rebellion, and Boula was granted a general amnesty for crimes committed in the course of the insurgency. Following the February 18, 2010 coup d'état against the Nigerian government, Boula and other former rebel leaders returned to Niamey, pressuring the junta to speed up the reintegration of former rebels into government. On March 29, 2010, Boula was arrested in Niamey, but on December 4, 2010, charges against him were dismissed by the Criminal Court of Niamey and he was cleared of all suspicion. In January 2011, Boula was elected regional councillor of Agadez for a term of 4 years, and in September 2011, he was appointed as advisor to President Mamadou Issoufou. In 2016, President Mamadou Issoufou appointed him as the Minister of State and he held the position until April 2021 when Issoufou's term came to an end. Rhissa is a good friend of President Mohamed Bazoum, was even a close friend of the embattled president before this crisis in Niamey, and that's why he's fighting to restore his presidency. Considering the fact that foreigners can use him to recruit militias to fight the junta, do you think the military should be worried about his resistance council for the Republic movement? Leave your comment on this below and don't forget to subscribe before leaving.